Caden, nice to have you, mate.
Yeah, thank you, mate.
Good
to be on.
It looks right
Thank
having you in here.
Yeah.
You look right. You look better than me. Not that that's an easy thing, but young, fresh, athletic. So it's great to have a current player in. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, mate. Yeah,
Good.
all good.
Big win yesterday.
Yeah, big win. Yeah, it was interesting. I think it was a bit tough to keep rallying through when it was just constant scores, but like the boys stuck at it. We tried to not just chuck it around like Harlem Globetrotter style. We were just trying to stick to a game plan, still trying to go through the bits, kind of emulating the senior team, and ended up scoring 91 points. So.
I know. Bit of context to that. So it was the England Day. They're not called Saxons anymore.
No,
they're
England Day now,
versus what I thought was going to be the World Cup Portugal side, but it turned out
Fiji.
who beat Fiji. Actually, who beat Fiji and who won the hearts and minds of all the rugby public. But I didn't recognise one name on that list, so I was thinking it could be 50, but it was actually nearly 100. How was the conversation before, like with that? Because it's obviously an honour, right, to play for your country. The England Day hasn't been around, like it's not been in the mixer for ages. And it's the stepping stone. Hence, when you look at the team, players like yourself playing some quality players to the national team, and you play that and there's nearly 100 points. Like, what does anyone get from that? Was it a bit of an anticlimax?
Well, the whole week was literally emulating when you're in senior camp for Six Nations or autumn or anything like that. So there was a big build up. We didn't really know what team they were going to send, so we were expecting to come up against, like you said, the team that beat Fiji in the World Cup. So we prepared like it was a test week and ready for everything, and got to the game, and it just happened to be that it wasn't quite their best team.
Yeah. Did you have to pull the foot off the accelerator?
No, not at all.
No.
I think we were going for the
100.
jugular. Yeah, we were going. We were going like everyone wanted to put their foot in the doorstep of that proper squad. And obviously, boys dropping down from the camp, the likes of Will Muir, Charlie Yules, and all that. They came in and led pretty well. Charlie Yules especially led pretty well. So.
And what's said after? Like, what's in the change room after? You couldn't have done any more. I suppose that's the conversation,
exactly,
isn't it?
It was just, it was one of those where like, it wasn't what we kind of hoped it was going to be with the challenge and kind of emulating a test match. It wasn't really the same intensity as that, but I think boys still played well and showed up and fronted up.
Scored a hat-trick?
Yeah, hat-trick. Yeah. A few walk-ins again. Nice to be back out. Hey, you take them.
Hold on your wing. Mate, there's loads of walk-ins now. We saw that as well. Like that's in even the big game. If you can hold your width and be patient.
Yeah. Look at Doohan. You just need someone like Finn feeding you.
Oh my gosh! Would you watch the game?
Yeah, we all watched that game together as well.
What was your? And it might be difficult for you to say as a 24-year-old young man who's kind of there or thereabouts. Scotland very good.
Scotland were brilliant in the moments. They took their moments. When you've got the likes of Finn Russell, Hugh Jones, Van der Merwe, they literally had 3 or 4 opportunities and grasped them with both hands and completed their line breaks and took their opportunities. Whereas England, on the other hand, maybe a few new combinations and stuff just didn't click. But they played really well. I thought that first 10 minutes they flew out the box.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I thought they actually played really well. It was just those few moments.
Mate, I've not spoken. Like, you're the first person that I've spoken to really of any kind of like, right, well, if you say something, you're probably right. You're more right than me because you're close to it. But I actually thought England played really well. Yeah, there were some mistakes, and I don't think people realise when they watch a game like that, like Scotland are one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
At the minute, like they are, like 100%. Based on the World Cup, but how they play, the players that they've got, like you mentioned, Van der Merwe, Rory Darge is on fire, Jack Dempsey, Grant Gilchrist, George Turner, Jamie Ritchie, who's been captain. You've got Finn Russell, probably the best 10 in the world or in the top 3. Duane Van der Merwe on the wing, who's one of the best wingers. Exactly. Blair Kinghorn, who's playing at Toulouse. You've got Hugh Jones, who's on fire at the minute. Like, that's a fucking good Scotland team. And England, in the first half, I thought they looked wicked. And there was a load of emotional drivers around Jamie George and the passing of his mum, but also, like, the need for them to play well. So I'm glad you're saying that, because I was like, I loved the game. I really enjoyed it.
Proper test match. And then, like I said, Scotland clinical.
We were very clinical. We were. Like, just give people an idea, Ken, as a player, how difficult it is. Because like I watched a bit like with my missus, which is ridiculous because she watched me play for 15 years and I couldn't catch or pass. She's like, a lot of like mistakes and stuff like that from England though, like dropping the. As in, I just asked her because I put it out on social media that I thought England were brilliant in the first half. So I just said it casually, not just to her, but to my lad and a couple of mates. Oh, and she said, "Oh, there was a few drop balls," and I was like, "Yeah, but that's like because of how intense the game was, and it's done. Everything's done at the line. Just give the listeners an idea of like how hard it is to evolve your game and play that style of rugby that England want to play."
Yeah, and I think people will try and compare like Test match to club rugby sometimes. And I remember going into my first camp under Eddie, and the amount of pressure that is put on you by, you've got the best players in the country constantly, like Scottish, like you said, the Scottish back row, Scottish centres, Tuapolotu and Hugh Jones, probably two of the best defensive centres as well, constantly in your face, putting pressure on you. You've got no time, like you said, it's all at the line. And those who can do it, the likes of Finn Russell, George Ford at the line, all it takes is one little bit of pressure, and it's so hard to do, so hard to do. And it just has to be off by that 10, 20 centimetres a pass, and suddenly it's on the floor. And I think that's where a lot of the mistakes came. I think it's credit to Scotland, to be honest, with their defence. They were putting boys under pressure. And yeah, it is literally just those fine margins in a test match which can cause a loose ball. Suddenly Duhan van der Merwe's run 50 metres and you're under your post again.
I thought that the game plan was spot on as well. There was a South African game plan feel, as in not how South Africa play, how England played against South Africa in the semis with the kind of short box kicks, like the up and unders, which was someone like George Furbank. I was like, well, actually, if you're going to play that game, you need a Freddie in there. But I thought George played really well in that game plan as well. So there was a bit of a mix, wasn't there, between the two styles in which they want to play. But I suppose, like, because you're at Harlequins and you play this fast brand of rugby with Marcus, and Northampton are doing that as well, it's almost like, oh, well, they've got the blueprint. But you kind of said there that, well, it's not as easy as that to go from club to country in that space.
No, definitely not. The intensity and the amount of time you've got on the ball is different club to country. And that's why I think so many people are like, why can't we see this huge expansive game in Test rugby? I think because of the amount of pressure getting put on, because everyone is drilled into a system. They're the best players in the league. Like, there's a reason why they're there, and they're putting so much pressure on you, so it does make it that much harder to play.
Yeah. How far away are you, do you think? Do you know? Hat-trick?
No.
You scored a hat-trick,
I
mate.
did score a hat-trick, yeah, but we also scored 91 points, so I don't know if that's much for a given. But yeah, hopefully I'll be in around the mix. I mean, I've had a tough run of injuries at the start of the season. Did my MCL in my knee and then did my syndesmosis ankle when I came back from that. So I've only played about 4 or 5 games this year, so it was nice to actually just get a full 80 under the belt, and then hopefully I'll kick on and hopefully we'll try and get a spot on that summer tour.
Yeah, well, there's some quality players coming through. Like, if you're an English fan and you're looking at like the quality of players coming through, like the back three especially, right? You see George Furbank come in, people questioning like, how's he come in? Who did he play against? Was it maybe last Six Nations? Was it against France a couple of years ago?
Away in France.
And he was phenomenal. Like, he was unreal. Like, and you think of like young Faye Waboso on the right wing as well. Yourself, like, not being in the mix. I mean, there's loads, like, as in the back three especially, there's, I'm going to say it, as in close to world-class talent. And I suppose just a moment in time, right, and getting your opportunity.
Exactly, yeah. It's all about being ready when your opportunity comes and hopefully grasping it with both hands and taking that opportunity.
Yeah. So the body is...
Yeah, feeling really good, actually.
Yeah.
It's been a bit weird because obviously I came back from injury in the last Prem game, played 30 minutes off the bench and then 4 weeks off. Like, there's never been an international break before. You're usually rolling in, but this time you've had another 4 weeks just to not play at all, which was a bit frustrating, but look, played yesterday.
Yeah, it's the balance, isn't it? Because when you are playing week on week, some might say it's too many games.
Exactly.
But then you've got this weird window now, which never's been the case with the 3 teams that have folded. There's talk of Wasps coming back.
Yeah.
And then this international window. Like, you as a young man, do you want more games? Do you want less games? Does it change?
I think it's good. I think it is good because I do speak to the boys who have done 17 games in a row already this season. And this break couldn't have come at a better time because it's a brutal sport, rugby. I think people forget that some of the collisions, even at like club level, it's brutal. Boys are battered, can't really train properly till come the Tuesday, Thursday. And then you're rolling in again, you're doing that week on week on week. So to have this break has been brilliant for some of the older boys in our squad, let's say.
Yeah. It's a tough old sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you feel that as a player? And I'm saying that because I'm doubling down on my role, whatever that role is, like podcasting, when I'm talking to people, when I look at other sports, the way that I speak about the game. Like, you're a young man that's in it and you're doing it, you're a power athlete, you're a speed athlete. And if you are an athlete like you are in the game of rugby, for me, that puts you in some of the greatest athletes walking the planet. You know what I mean? I just think, well, we were chatting in the green room, weren't we, and talking to the Prem Rugby guys. I don't think we celebrate that enough, just actually, like how athletic, I'm not even going to say we, how athletic, like, you lads are.
Yeah.
Are you feeling that more, like, as in, is there a jealousy around looking at other sports? Everyone's talking about, like, these other sports, about how athletic they are, yet we're living in a game with the greatest athletes as well.
I think it can go under the radar, rugby. I think especially some of the people I play with, like, there's some absolute freak athletes. Like, you look at someone like Andre Esterhuizen, 6'4", 6'5", up near 120 kilos, yet can probably run 100 meters quicker than anyone on the street, and he's sprinting full bore into people. People are tackling him, and he's doing that, and people are doing that week in, week out. Like, there are some absolute freaks out there who probably don't get enough credit.
Yeah. He's South African as well, though. They're different.
Yeah,
they are different,
aren't they?
Aren't they? Like, that's what I mean. They're freaks of nature. And I say that, and like, I don't think people talk about it enough. Like Duan van der Merwe doing that at the weekend against England. It looks like a run-in, right? It just looks like it's a walk-in.
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like, he's meant to be one of the quickest players in the game.
Yeah.
Like, he's quicker than Blair Kinghorn.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think we talk about it enough. At World Rugby, they're doing some stuff with the set. They're doing some stuff at the Sevens. They own the Sevens. They're running the Sevens, but they're building content on one of their platforms called, hear me out, Gainline Fitness, right? And you're watching this platform grow, and it's growing because they're showing, like, the Argentinian Sevens teams with their shirts off and stuff like that. They look like fucking bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're showing, like, snippets of them in the gym. This Madison Levi, this girl who's playing for Australia, I spoke about her before, like, she's squatting like 100 odd kgs. Like, this is mental.
It is mental.
That the other sports aren't. Well, they do it. They peacock, don't they?
Exactly.
Like, everything is around that. Like the NFL, they show the drafts and stuff that they're doing.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I think that's why it's all more around the individual in the NFL. The likes of football, like, you look at like Adama Traore, brilliant athlete, but then you look at someone like Cheslin Colby, probably equally similar, but you don't hear it nearly as much. So I think there could definitely be more done. Maybe a little, like, Olympic style games or something, just to test out, and people can realise how quick. Like Reece Ammett going over there, people are like, oh, will he have a chance? Is he that good an athlete? I fucking think he is. He is rapid, and he cruises in 11 meters per second on the GPS, which is nuts. Like, that is NFL speed.
Yeah, you don't get picked up for a player pathway program in the NFL when they've got the pick of the global athletes knocking about, unless you've got something, right?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that is, you look at Lewis Reece Ammett and his social media is flying, but he's like of the new breed, isn't he? Because he don't give a shit.
No, exactly.
He's like, I put myself out there. I've got my teeth done. I'm not bothered. But we were talking, like, the Prem Rugby guys were in, and as they're looking to establish themselves around, the taglines, like, kind of cultural relevancy, right? And how they elevate the game. And we know the Prem Rugby that on the pitch is awesome, but there's a few issues at the back end, aligning commercial deals, the TV rights, but it's around this kind of being unapologetic and showcasing what the sport is. And you had some kind of ideas, I'm putting you on the spot here, of what you'd like to see as a young man coming through.
Yeah, like I said, it's all about building, like, individuals. And you look at football, I guarantee there are football fans who purely watch football for fantasy. And I think the more fantasy rugby and video games, and it's the way the world's going, isn't it? Everything's on your phone, or you want to be competitive in a game, or all over TikTok, so we've got to grow individuals to help grow the game. Because I think on the pitch, there's so many things going right. I think the game's in one of the best spots it's been for a while. I think you look at the club games, they're ridiculous club games. We've got Big Game at Quins, which is getting 80,000 people to Twickenham. And the more we grow the individuals, people will come purely just to watch the likes of Marcus Smith, the likes of Finn Russell, all of them. But in order to do that, we need to get them out there and accessible in different ways for younger people.
Yeah. Did you see the clip I put up of the lad for Stade Francais?
That try was ridiculous.
I'm going to see if I'm going to play it, and then we might even be able to get, like, the overlay for it. I won't be able to get it put on that big screen, actually. So my mate who coaches Stade Francais, Paul Gustard. Well, do you know Guzzy? Yeah, Wolfpack
He was
Guzzy.
head coach of Quins,
Yeah, he was head coach when you were there as well. So Guzzy sends me it, and he's like, "Mate, you want to see this guy run with the ball?" I went over to France to meet him. He's been on the show actually, and so he sends me like kind of snippets of like lads that I should watch out for. I'm trying to get his name, but he's done 6 million views.
It is, and I've seen people comment on Twitter like, "I don't know what's going on in this clip. I don't know what rugby is.
Yeah,
but I want to watch it. This is exciting."
It's so funny. Some of the clips on there, some of the comments on there. He's dropped the ball. Like, I don't know what that is. Like, holy shit. Like, who is this guy? And the top one, this is simply awesome. Better than awesome. Whatever that is. So people don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
I'm going to try and say his name drop him. I like this where we go raw. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Can't get his name.
And that's why you need it to be accessible.
Pen Ayasi Daku Waka. I'm going to get this right for next time.
Yeah.
See, I'll put a bit of music, a bit of DMX. Mate,
incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
But like, that's where we need the accessibility. Everyone should know who he is. That should be all over everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's been posted or whatever. Obviously, you've posted it and stuff, but that should be...
It's
one of the best tries I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's 6 million. That's done 6 million views in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, the edit's really good as well. And I've added a bit of music on the back end. Yeah, you need to bring music in, don't you?
Exactly.
As well. Like anyone can look cool when there's a little bit of music, but some freak athletes playing the game. And I think 100%. That it's now... And you know what? If someone says to me, "Jimmy, you an NFL fan?" I'd be like, "Fucking right, I am." Like Travis Kelce, Jason Kelce, I love it, like all over it now. So man, I hardly ever watch any of the games,
exactly.
But I watch the clips.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing with the game. Like people, the rules, it's too slow. Like the scrums, no. That's the beauty. That is our game, you know. But then you've got snippets of like just mega athletes doing shit like that.
Little compilations or just little video. Kids get bored. All they want to do is scroll through TikTok anyway.
Yeah.
All they want to do is see those clips.
Yeah.
So celebrate them and get them out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you like how are you consuming media? Is that how you're doing it? When you look at other sports, is there a jealousy when you're looking and seeing like what they're doing? Like we could be doing this.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot to learn. Like you see a few boys putting stuff on TikTok and stuff now, but nowhere near enough. And like Twitter, I think DuPont is kind of leading the way over there, being on the front cover of Vogue and stuff. I think that's where you need to start getting into as well. Not only they're freak athletes, they're some good-looking boys as well.
Hey, I'm sat in front of one. Yeah, you're right. No, 100%.
Yeah, like the public love that sort of stuff. Like get it out in the eye, get people on different channels, on different magazines, speaking not necessarily just about rugby. I think you can go down a path of just speaking about rugby and all you're trying to do is grow it that way. Speak about other things. Like this podcast, get other people on. Yeah. That's how you grow the game.
Exactly. And it's amazing. So I was pitch side at the weekend for the Scotland-England game, and I've been doing the pitch side show for the World Cup, and I was like, right, well, I'm keen to do it for the Six Nations, and there was all this pushback, and thankfully for me, like Scotland Rugby were like, well, we've got a position, just fucking come.
Yeah.
And then bring in like a couple of different kind of celebs and stuff like that pitch side. So there was a guy called Martin Ford, 7 foot kind of, I thought he was 7'1". He's actually smaller than me, so that shows you a little bit of smoke and mirrors. But Tom Walker, the singer, and he was singing like before the game. He's got no idea about rugby, so he was a bit nervous coming on. I was like, mate, we ain't talking about rugby. I don't even know about it. Like, come on the show. And then some of these clips from behind the scenes are getting like 6-10 million views. You know, which is building a cultural relevancy to get out of rugby.
Exactly.
We almost need to get out of rugby. Yeah. To grow the game.
You did Gerard Butler at the World Cup as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Gerard Butler, yeah.
My mum liked that one.
Oh, really?
Big
so
fan.
he does the promo for the show.
Oh, does he?
So the start of this is the Big Jim show. He does it. I saw him at the weekend, but he was, he looked like he was keen to be drinking and not talking to me. But that's what, like these guys, like there's so many, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people that are interested in rugby, and we just haven't showed it off enough, you know? So hopefully we'll do that more as we move forward and having you on is part of that. So how's your dad?
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah,
I did see Dad, didn't I?
You did see my dad, the Army under-23s game or something. Right. Yeah, he was there,
That's how much
after your week with the military.
I know.
Yeah.
He was, that's how much we both love our rugby, the fact that your dad was there watching it and we were. But there's a deeper reason for that. So it was awesome chatting to him, actually, because he was talking about the podcast and saying, like, oh, it's awesome you talk about it and stuff. And I said, oh, in the military, sir? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, obviously, we had you when they were in the military, so you've travelled a bit.
Yeah, lived in Germany when I was younger.
Me too.
Been all over, to be honest.
Yeah.
Finally settled around Salisbury area, but yeah, it's a lot of military values that were instilled in me, for sure, living on military bases and stuff.
Yeah. What rank did he get to?
He got to Lieutenant Colonel.
He did. I was going to say Colonel, but I didn't know, because I know that's quite high. Yeah, so if I went high, in the end you made
He's actually just retired.
Has he?
He's just retired. So.
What's his name?
John Murley.
John Murley.
MBE.
Is he an MBE as well?
I like that shout out.
Really?
So, yeah.
So, MBE, Lieutenant Colonel Murley.
Murley.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What was it like in your childhood then? Because I was very different to yours. My father wasn't a Lieutenant Colonel. Lieutenant Colonel?
Lieutenant Colonel,
Lieutenant Colonel. He was mongrel mob, front line.
Okay.
And yeah, like probably a very different relationship, it seems, to how your relationship with your dad is. But nonetheless, like, we travelled a lot. Very unsettling. Like, I even find, like, now, even with 4 kids, I'm always quite... Well, I've moved a lot. Like, I've had a lot of house. You never really feel settled.
No, I agree. Yeah, you're just constantly on the move. But it does make you adaptable as well. You're so used to just getting chucked in a situation and make friends here, speak to people.
Yeah,
so I'm quite a sociable person. That's probably because of my upbringing. My dad was always big on... He didn't want to, like, shove military down my throat. It was never like, I'm in, you're joining, we're passing it on. But he definitely instilled, like, the military values into me.
So you lived in Germany?
Yeah. Lived in Germany, for 6 or 7 years.
Really? Do you remember what part or not?
Paderborn.
Okay.
Yeah, just outside of Senelager.
Go.
English-speaking school, though.
Okay.
That's one thing I wish my parents had forced me to do, speak another language.
Yeah. Well, when you're in the army, you travel around with...
Yeah.
Obviously, the people in the army,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So, loads of Americans,
Yeah, of course. Anywhere else?
No, and then we went back down to Cornwall, because both my parents are originally from Cornwall. So lived down there, and then we came back up to Salisbury, and that's eventually where we based around there, because there's quite a few military bases around there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was born, there's a military base called Tidworth.
My dad worked at Tidworth.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was born there.
Really?
Yeah, I've got no association. So people Wikipedia me, and like I live in Scotland, like my dad's Scottish. Like I'm Scottish, I'm a quarter English, right? But the accent similar to you. You're travelling around. Like my dad was in the special forces, so it was largely like English and American, I imagine. So that's why the accent is where it is. But my birth certificate says Swindon, right? I've never been to Swindon in my life at all.
You don't want to.
I know. I lie. I went there to get my birth certificate, and there's a retail park or something. They're like an outlet.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Never been to Swindon, but like I lived in Northern Ireland as well. That was a bit... Because I'm older than you, obviously, by a good 15 years. So I lived there in the 80s. Fucking hell. That's proper army.
Yeah. Saw some things over there.
Yeah. That's proper army. And Germany. And, Mum and Dad parted company in 91 after the Gulf War, and then we ended up in Coventry. But no, I think like the military stuff, like we did it on the rugby pod. We spent a few days.
Yeah,
with
I saw that.
Mate, it was so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. All that stuff. I love that. I'd never have gone into the army, but we did a similar. We went down to the Gurkhas down in Folkestone and did like a 2-night camp down there with them. Didn't look quite as intense as your one, but it was still pretty intense. And I lapped it up. All the boys were like, "Oh, your dad's in the army. You're used to this." I'm like, I'm not really used to it. I'm just embracing it. And you just gotta. Like, I find them incredible, especially the Gurkhas here.
Yeah, mental.
They leave their families, come over, send all their money back, get to go back once, maybe a year. That's it, and their whole life is here protecting this country.
I know, and speaking frankly, these youngsters coming through. Are they bothered? Do you know what I mean? I don't mean in the army, but I mean like these young kids now in this country. How does your dad speak about it? Is he? He
speaks about it, very highly.
Oh, he does highly,
yeah. Well, he was from Cornwall, from Penzance, right down in Land's End, and he just saw it as a great opportunity. Joined the army when he was 17, played rugby for him, travelled the world, captained the army, played sevens all around the world. Yeah, played for Quins back in the 90s as well when you could do both.
Yeah.
He said. I would have still been living in Penzance. He was like, if you don't get out at that age, then you're never going to leave. He speaks very highly of it.
How cool is that? So at 17, he wouldn't have gone in as an officer, no?
No.
Fuck. He went.
Yeah, I think he went in.
He did it the right way.
I think so. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if he didn't, we'll say that he did.
Yeah.
But if he's gone in at 17, he's gone in, and that's the way, right? As in the military, and like we had a couple of the guys on here, so we had Staff Sergeant in here, and we had a Captain Ackers and Staff Sergeant Bestie, and the captain I think was younger than.
Really, because he went in through Sandhurst.
Because he went in through Sandhurst.
Yeah.
But you could see there was a respect there.
Yeah.
But the respect really comes when you've gone from like Lance Corporal, Sergeant, all the way.
Yeah.
So if your dad did get to, even if he didn't go through that level, but if you get to that level having
gone all the way up,
you're the man. You're the fucking nuts. Hey. So it was nice chatting to him though. He's an
intense man.
He was really like, he was awesome, and that, I suppose, the confidence, like to come up and like say, "Oh,
exactly,
it's awesome you chatting about game and stuff like
anyone.
that." Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I asked him. I said about you joining the military. He said there was talk.
Yeah, there was time when obviously I didn't know if I was going to become rugby. I don't think I could have done uni or anything. That's not very me. So I think that was always like, but I would have always liked to go for the top. I'd have tried to get in like SAS, that kind of.
Of course.
Like, special forces or something.
Yeah.
Just to challenge myself, but no.
Maybe you could do one of those shows, the SAS Who Dares Wins.
I'd love to do that.
Would you?
Yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah, it'd be like you should do it like if you not now because obviously you're in contention to be playing at the highest level and getting back. But yeah, I'd love to have a go at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd be good at it as well.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, my ankle's still sore from the army stuff. Yeah, but I was chatting to Jason Fox actually, and like we just went back and forth on a couple of voice notes and stuff like that, because I think there's a bit of pushback on that SAS stuff, that they've glorified it, right? And you know, it's like they're sending fucking Matt Hancock to go and do it. Did you watch that one with him?
I watched a bit of that. Yeah.
So I was watching that one with him, and I was texting Foxy about it, and I said, "Matt, like, he obviously knows what happens, right? Because it's pre-filmed." I was like, "Mate, Hancock's going all the way because he's a sociopath.
Yeah,
like he ain't and he did. He went all the way.
Yeah, he did.
He went all the way
Politicians,
through.
Mate,
sociopaths. Yeah, and that's the thing, obviously, right? There's the physical element to it, like watching the show, but it's the mental thing that breaks them all. And that's the one thing, as much as people hate politicians or they hate Boris or they hate Matt Hancock, it's probably the most hated man. Mate, do you think he's worried about like white noise on when someone's scraping a whiteboard? I'm so glad they failed him though, I'll be honest. Yeah, because that was Gareth Gates' one. Anyway, I was chatting to Foxy about it and stuff like that, because glorifying like the SES, I think there's been a bit of backlash within the real hardy community. Do you know what I mean, of the secrets and that, but I actually think glorifying it makes, you know what I mean? Like, if your rugby career didn't happen, you're watching that and you're thinking, do you know what I mean? You'd be like, well, exactly. I'm going all in.
Yeah.
I want to go 100%. SAS style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're great athletes now as well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk
completely different. Like even we were walking with these Gurkhas and we were carrying the same weight backpacks, and they're only 50, 60 kilos. And they're lugging it around like it's nothing, and we're there like, oh, my back, my hips.
Yeah.
And they just get on with it.
I know. It's crazy. Like at Saracens, and you talk about like crazy athletes, and you know, I've just sat here and said, like, you know, you're some of the greatest athletes, or we were some of the greatest athletes ever. But we did a thing with Saracens where it was, hear me out, Space for Giants was a charity partner which was aligned with Saracens, and it's an elephant rhino, so it's a conservation for ivory and everything that happens down in Africa with people killing elephants and rhinos for their horns. So there's this big initiative around that. They were aligned with Saracens, and they're like, oh, we're going to go and do a challenge at the end of the season. And we won the premiership, and like, oh, what we're going to do? They said, oh, we're going to climb Mount Kenya. So myself, Jacques Berger, I don't know if you remember him. Yeah, Jacques Berger, Rhys Gill, who was a prop who played for Wales. We had a guy called Mike Ellery, who was a sevens winger. So a load of us said, right, we're going to go and do it. Climb Mount Kenya. And we said, oh, what is it? And he said, oh, it's a brisk walk. Right? Okay, no research whatsoever. Oh, and we're going to carry the Premiership trophy up. So went to Kenya, beautiful place. Jacques Berger couldn't do it because his knees were fucked. So he just came like on the helicopter and stuff like that, just following us around. And we had the Sherpas with us, right, who'd been up and down the mountain all year. and you talk about athletes, they're walking up this fucking mountain like their toes are hanging out their shoes. They're carrying all the kitchen, like all the the tents, everything. And like I'd say I was in my prime at that point, and dying we were literally dying before our eyes. The altitude, and Reece Gill actually nearly died when we were up there. Yeah, mental. And we were meant to bring the Premiership trophy. The whole idea was to get a picture at the top of Mount Kenya, holding the Premiership trophy with the flag behind. But we were at base camp, and a few lads had been ill, like had altitude sickness and stuff like that. I hadn't. Mike Ellery hadn't. But Reece Gill, who was in my tent, was quite bad. And we were at base camp, and it was like being on the moon. Like there was like a blizzard coming through. You couldn't see anything. But the tents were already there. The food was being cooked, but you couldn't see anything. And like the night, I've got videos on my phone and stuff like that. Actually, I might try and find them because it is quite funny. But so we're up the middle of the mountain, and Reece Gill can barely talk. So he's out the tent spewing all night. I'm out the tent shitting all night.
Yeah.
And we had to get up at like 4 a.m. to go up to watch the sunrise. I'll get you a video of Reece just to play the audio. I've never done something so difficult in my life.
Yeah.
And then when we were at base camp, they were like, you just need to be careful when the weather's like this because the altitude's worse and we've had a few people die and stuff like that.
Just drop that in casually.
It's like, my goodness.
Yeah, the altitude is always... Anyone who goes over the Bulls always says, or plays in, is it Pretoria?
That's where this game was, where I went and the guy was screaming stuff at me. And, mate, I was walking around and you saw the Saris boys, they were in pieces.
Yeah, they're in pieces, aren't they?
Yeah. But Kenya's lovely, actually. Oh, here's one of them. This is us at the... So after we came down, we had to try and find Reece a hospital because he was that ill. Bad. And he'd had his hair done before, so he got like the weaves done early. I mean, this is 2015, so it was a shit job. And obviously none of them took, but this is us on the way down.
Oh my God.
Mate, he's like a dead man.
Yeah. Just a brisk walk.
Just a brisk walk. I'm in Timberland shoes and a jacket from TK Maxx. And I'm not joking, it must have been about -15. And we're at base camp, so I'll get the video of him in the tent before. So I had a GoPro camera and like an expensive camera to like, as in document everything we're doing. Do you think anything came out? Fucking nothing.
You weren't worried about that.
I had nothing. So we had to go up from base camp. We had to you went to walk up like the mountain, then watch the sunrise, and that's what it was meant to be like. But the weather was that bad, we had to go around the climbers route. So everyone had to get clipped on to the mountain. Reece is falling back, so he's like literally dangling. Like there's a 100-foot drop. He's asleep. So we're carrying him around. There's no one anywhere. Like the Sherpas, like they only take you to base camp. You go up and then you come down. We've just got here. To base of
he looks rough,
Mount Kenya. How tired?
Mate, I'm gone. That was another 6 hours today on feet, but it was steep, so steep. Just all uphill all day. I can't think of anything worse now than climbing again. We got tomorrow morning, got an hour and a half climb, and then we're at the summit.
An hour and a half?
So hopefully it won't be too bad.
How long was it?
It was about 5 hours.
The lid's on fire.
So he had his weave done before. That's 3:30 in the afternoon. This is 4:25. Let it just load. This is 4:25 in the morning, 11th of June, 2016. Yeah, so it's about 4 in the morning. We're about 15,000 feet, another 2,000 to go. It's been a tough night. Reece boy.
Fucked by altitude.
So sad. He's had altitude sickness all night, so he's been spewing out the tent. But let me tell you, it's been. I can't even talk. I'm that tired. It's like the Antarctica up here. It is freezing. So we're fully layered up. We've got about 2 hours, and then we'll be on the top of Mount Kenya. Let's hope it's worth it because last night wasn't. Jesus. You ready to go, Reece? Yeah.
Let's go, Cadan.
So that's in there, and I'll just play you one last one because this is at the top of Mount Kenya, watching the sunset 2 hours later, but it's actually not, it's 5 hours later. And this was the weather, so just give the listeners a kind of bit of context of, like, I look like, it's like a scene off Everest or Alive.
Can't even hear you.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Because I love the military, so I was like, yeah, I'll get
do
up
it,
there.
yeah.
No issues. Reskill nearly died. I fucking swear to God. So, because we went up like the climbers route, and then we had to come down, and like, you know, like coming down's harder. Like running downhill is harder than running uphill.
Yeah, definitely.
So we were in pieces, and then like it was like sand and shingles all the way down for about 6 hours. Like that. So we were just rolling down the hill, and we're having, knees are screaming.
Yeah.
Like if that was a human, bit like a normal human, not a rugby player, he would have died. I'm telling you now, because we would have had to leave him. Like we'd be like, mate, we can't carry it. Like, you fucked. Thank you, Saracens. Maybe that's why we went on to win things. Well, maybe it's not. But I don't know. How's things at Quins as a club?
Good, mate. Yeah, really good.
Seems
actually.
to be
we got
flying.
a very good balance of youth and experience now, I think. Launchbury coming in's been real good.
Yeah.
Real good.
Yeah.
What a bloke.
A good player.
Yeah.
I
He's
saw
been commuting from up near Birmingham to Quins.
Is that where it is? Is he Leamington way?
Leamington,
Leamington, because he was there with Wasp, weren't he?
And he comes in 2.5 hours drive, and he's still just same old launches every day.
He's a bull, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's why he's like that old school mould.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he's made a big difference for you as well,
he
hasn't
really
he?
has. Yeah, he's been class.
Yeah.
And then obviously the young boys stepped up at the start of the season when all the boys were off at the World Cup. And sitting in second at the moment, so big end.
Of course, yeah.
Sarri's at Tottenham next.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right.
We're loving this fixture, mate, because we don't have to play at the Stonex.
You not like that?
Oh,
what's
mate,
wrong?
that pitch.
Oh, it's the pitch. Yeah.
Horrible.
Elephant in the room.
Horrible, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tottenham, we'll take that.
Yeah, just on the pitch before we talk about Tottenham, I'm like a big advocate to get rid of these artificial pitches. Can you see my face? And I've got these kind of blemishes.
Yeah, all up there.
All on there. So I've got, like, if anyone sees me closer, or even when I'm on TV or more so maybe on the podcast, YouTube, you'll see, like, as in I've got these like skin pigmentation, disfigurements on my face. And it was one of them, you know, like the Spider-Man moment when, like, the Spider-Man points at the other Spider-Man. So I was with Chris Wiles, who I played at Saracens with, and Chris Ashton, and we were like stood around, and all three of us had got the same. And then we started having, and it's obviously
Must be from that 3G.
It's from the 3G picture. Some of the lads are having like dermatologists look at their skin and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's specifically that. I feel bad because obviously we're calling out Saracens, who are my club, and you know, I'm good mates with the owner and stuff like that. But like, you have to call it out. I don't think them pitches are fit for purpose.
Yeah.
You agree?
As a winger, I like playing on them while I'm in the game. But yeah, the next day, how you feel, some of the injuries I've seen on there.
What are kind of injuries?
Just like when you're wearing too long of studs, or your studs get caught in the ground, ankles, knees, fracture dislocations, that kind of thing. It's just heightens everything.
The burns?
Yeah, the burns as well.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Boys have been in hospital in recent times from getting burns on and then getting infected. Yeah.
Mate, we've got to call it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as difficult as it is to say, I don't know how they're allowed. And are some better than others?
Yeah, six ways used to be really nice.
Okay.
I used to like playing on six ways. That was kind of a mix or something. I don't know. But yeah, Sarri's and Newcastle's ones are... Gloucester's new one's all right, to be fair.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played on that.
Did you?
I played a charity game on it. Yeah, I say played. I was there.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Ed Slaters and Billy Twelvetrees. I mean, I didn't hit the deck, but I couldn't tell. But some of the, like, as in, for example, the Sevens is in Vancouver.
Yeah,
obviously, the DuPont's just played, and you see they've all got like
the Hyperfix,
Hyperfix stuck to them. You shouldn't have to do that at the professional game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with these artificial pitches. It's like NFL. I think NFL were trying to go away from them.
Yeah,
more
I think so, because of injuries as well.
Because of injuries, and like they've never been better and stuff like that. But yeah, I speak to loads of lads.
Yeah.
And been able to come
some
out.
boys who didn't used to play on them, wasn't there? Like Jack Noel used to try and avoid them.
Manu struggles, even though that Sale got one.
No, Sale don't.
They don't.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about them.
Yeah, well, it's at Tottenham anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
that's a stadium.
It's a stadium, mate. We walked in there. first thing I did, we were walking through, and there's like a little room, and I had a look in. It was like the press room. We've all got Bentley chairs in there.
So cool.
I was like,
how it should be.
Yeah, I was like, this is. To get used to this.
So cool.
The changing rooms are just unbelievable. Playing in it was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there, did a live event there,
Yeah.
had a behind the scenes tour. Saw the NFL doing a training run, and then how they were talking about how the floor moves kind of in and out, so like they can move, like,
they
as
can
in
change it,
the grass and
Yeah.
put in. So fucking cool,
Mate.
and that, like, being at Murrayfield at the weekend, chatting to one of the guys there who's on the board, and he's like, Murrayfield needs a revamp. I was like, yeah, like obviously a bit old, bit dated, like similar to Twickenham.
Yeah.
And he's like, 250 mil, 300 mil. You know, I don't know, because there was talk of Twickenham as well, wasn't there?
Yeah,
like moving out of
I saw
Twickenham.
that, yeah.
Maybe you can't say it, but out of all the stadiums, I'm not a fan of Twickenham.
Really?
I'm just not. And I'm a quarter English, so okay, you know what I mean? So I should. When you've got like a Wembley, and I've been to Tottenham and these kind of newer stadiums.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
is a step up. It is a step up.
Yeah. Which English rugby should have, right?
Yeah,
you should have the best of the best kind of thing. So, like the Tottenham one's cool.
Yeah.
Have you played there before?
Yeah, I played there last year.
I was there
against
last year.
Sarries, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one I played in. Yeah, it was mental.
With the grass, great.
Oh, mate, the pitch is
Yeah.
different level.
That's so cool. And that's where I think the direction of our game goes, right? Especially in the Prem. Or in the URC, however that looks like, them kind of big moments.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The big weekend?
Yeah.
Banter. The big weekend. But you know, like as in the music, the glitz and the glamour, like them awesome stadiums. Because it's not a great spot, is it? Like where it is in Tottenham. But like that is it. Like then we are heading towards the bigger events and stuff like that the game needs. Do you think we need more or less? So we go back to that, as in, like, would you be happy? Because the Stoop's good place.
Stoop's good, yeah.
Good place to be. Actually, chatting to my agent, he thinks, and I think there's been a survey done, that actually out of all the stadiums, like Quins do it best.
They've really focused off the pitch this year.
Yeah.
So they've built like different fan villages, trying to make it better to facilitate all the fans and stuff. And I think, they've done a brilliant job of it. Well, our CEO was ex-Wolves.
Okay.
So he's kind of come from that football environment, which I think has definitely helped.
Yeah.
He's done a brilliant job with all of that off the pitch.
Yeah. And that's it, about engaging with the younger generation,
100%,
right? Because you're going to come there, and that's the thing about Twickenham, unfortunately. And I bet you're desperate to hear Swing Low, Sweet Chariot again. You know what I mean? But as a casual fan or a youngster coming through, you'd be like, what is this?
Yeah, I agree. And I was watching the big game this year, so I was injured in that. So I went to that, and I went to the England-Wales game, and it's just, the differences in the atmosphere is just crazy. I think, like everyone always says, when England are playing, Twickenham's the biggest pub in the world. People are just there. I was sat on a road with Adam Jones was next to me with his daughter. I was there with my girlfriend, and we were sat along this road, and I was standing up. I reckon I stood up 20 times each half.
Yeah.
Just for people to go buy pints. And people aren't even watching the rugby, they're just using it as an excuse to drink.
Yeah.
Whereas big game, the atmosphere was incredible. I know we had Joel Corey, but all the old Quins fans, the traditional, they're like, who's this coming in? But it brought so many people into that stadium. The buzz was incredible.
That's so
and I think
cool.
afterwards everyone was like, fuck, that was actually fucking good atmosphere day out.
And what about the players? Did they feel that?
Loved it.
Did they?
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah, the whole experience though, isn't it? It's like you feel like a rock star when you go in.
And they do, like we do the walk over from the stoop. And it's building that individual status. People are looking out for people. You can sign autographs. People are trying to get their favourite players.
Yeah.
Quins have brought out trading cards. I don't know if you've seen them.
No,
like the old match
no.
attacks. You ever seen match attacks?
Yeah.
Quins have started trying to do little things like that. So I think it's just.
Is there a favourite? Like, what's the most desirable
There's special
one?
cards, like Stefan Levy's, Marcus obviously has got one. Marla and Danny, I think.
Okay.
Maybe Dommers as well. I think they're the big five you want to get. They're like a platinum card.
Stefan's is a big one. I thought he'd be humble. I thought he'd be like
club captain, mate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has to be.
Is he still club captain? Is he?
Yeah,
he is. A good player, him. Big fan of him. But yeah, the big game. I'm going to do a pitch side thing. I was chatting to the Prem guys in the green room actually.
Oh yeah, with big summer kickoff. Yeah, we got that one in a few weeks against Northampton.
Yeah, is it that one or is it Sarries? What's the
Oh,
28th?
that's the showdown is at Tottenham Hotspur.
Showdowns at Tottenham Hotspur.
And then Quins have got their own big summer kickoff.
Have they?
Yeah, not against Northampton.
See, this is the thing. I still think we need to make things a bit clearer. That was my feedback to them.
Yeah.
Like the big showdown. What's this one? The big kickoff.
Yeah, we've got big game at Christmas Quins.
Yeah.
Sarries is the showdown, I
Yeah.
think they call it. And then we've got big summer kickoff.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's
they
too
all kind of
confusing.
blend. Yeah, I know what you
So we
mean.
need to make it like as
Yeah.
in like big moments, and then like even further like chatting. So it was great conversation. Like the Prem Rugby are really receptive
Yeah.
to see and chat. Like they were obviously chatting to you.
Yeah.
Like they're chatting to me, getting different ideas of like what they can do. And my feedback to them was it just needs to be clearer
Yeah.
in what we're doing. And we were talking about this kind of regulation 9, which affected me as a player, where you'd have to come back and play Premiership rugby in
yeah,
between the
if you
Six
were,
Nations. But there's no Prem games this weekend,
No,
is
nothing.
there? So
No.
I saw Gregor saying something about the law, but even though Finn's not even coming back to play for
They
Bath,
don't have a game, I don't think.
yeah, but just making it clearer, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So you know that we're in this Six Nations window, you're coming out, and then we're straight into a Prem window,
Yeah.
for example, but we're not with Prem, Champions Cup.
Europe,
Yeah.
then back in, yeah.
Yeah, it's just all a bit bitty, but yeah, Quinn seemed to be leading the charge with all that. Yeah, and what's the ambition? Like, do they say? Like, as in, like, confident enough to say, right, we want to win it? That is the ambition.
Yeah, that is ultimately our ambition. I think we've
Yeah.
always been a big get to that top 4 in the Prem and give ourselves a chance, but we've also got ourselves a home round of 16 this time in Europe against Glasgow at home. So that's another
Yeah,
big
of course.
chance for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we're looking pretty tasty for this end of the season, but it's going to be whoever comes back on top. Obviously, haven't had this international break like before really, so no one really knows who's going to come out of it on top. You have some boys who have played 5 games in the Six Nations who'll be rolling into another one, so they might be a bit fatigued, whereas you have other boys who have had a rest for 7 weeks and they might be off the boil. So it's whichever team comes out after this
Yeah,
is going to, because there's only 7 Prem games
of
left.
course, it's crazy.
Like that, it's gone so
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah. No, I quite like. I mean, obviously, I wish the clubs didn't fold, but actually, the speed of it, I'm a fan of.
Yeah,
I'm chatting to. You might have said it on TV, but Lewis Ludlow from Gloucester
yeah,
was saying, "Oh, we're getting into our rhythm now. We're getting into our rhythm, and it's kind of like the season's over. Before kind of they've got into
Yeah.
the rhythm." I was like, "Mate, that's it.
That's
That's sport,
cutthroat,
brother.
yeah, exactly,
That's how you
yeah.
want it to be."
yeah, 100%.
But-
No time to build into it.
Yeah. What about as a young lad and you looking at the lay of the land? Obviously, Lewis Liner's off to
Yeah.
Benetton. His dad was Michael.
played
His
out
Michael
there, I
played
think,
there. I think
yeah.
his mum.
His mum's from there?
His mum's from
I
there.
think so, yeah.
So they've got a little bit of history
Yeah.
there. There's obviously talk of Andre Esterhazen. You don't need to answer that. I know the answer to that. Going back to South Africa, Henry Arundel had
Yeah.
him on the show as well, and there was all the talk about that. Like Faz is off. You know, like all these kind of pockets and big players and young players that are looking elsewhere. Like, what's the conversation as youngsters coming through? Is it to do with money, opportunity?
I think there's a bit of that, but I think you look at it in football, there are always youngsters that they go elsewhere and they just to kind of get away from the English press. I think the English media and the English press can be quite harsh and critical on our own talent. I think they look elsewhere and they're like, oh, France have got XXX and South Africa have got this. But then when it comes to their own, they make a couple of mistakes or they have one bad game and suddenly they're done, get rid of them, let's get someone else in. And I think as a youngster, heading off to somewhere new, I think a lot of like the French, the Benetton obviously have invested massively.
Yep.
There's a lot of excitement around that. So I think to get away and you just have some time to yourself, focus on yourself, get back and join your rugby again without all the critics on your back, I think it's great for the youngsters.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like over in France and Italy, just to name two, because I don't speak the language,
No,
broken
neither.
French. But investment's the word, right? As in, it's undeniable. You look at the top 14, sold out to the rafters, every single game, almost like a football tribalism to it.
Yeah.
Italy, I know that they're investing. Right, you look at their under-20s coming through,
Yeah.
beat France the other
Yeah, I
night.
saw that.
They nearly beat Ireland, who are the best under-20s in the
Yeah.
world right now. Benetton that you just mentioned, but all the whispers coming out of Italy is investment,
Yeah.
which sport is, right?
100%.
It's about investment. It's
Yeah,
about money.
exactly.
And people don't like talking about that yet. I feel like in England, especially, the URC not so much, but in England especially, everything is about money. Everything, as in, but in a negative, they talk about it in a negative way.
Yeah.
as
they're going over to cash in.
Yeah,
he's not faithful, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
But also they talk about our players shouldn't get paid too much. The salary cap.
Yeah.
Clubs are disappearing. Like it's to do with it's to do with the players'
fault. Yeah,
like it's the players' fault, and they're the ones that need to be the ones that miss out. I think it is mental. Like I think it is crazy that's even brought in, and I understand why, but I still think it's crazy. It's spoken about in the same. The players need to be shielded from that. Like it's got nothing to the commercial model and everything around the growth of the game. That's got nothing. You lads are doing it. Yeah. You're putting out a product there, which for me is 100% sellable. Like we were speaking about it, as in the quality of some of the games, the big show, the showdown, the big game, whatever it is. Like you are falling in line and playing in these games. The Regulation 9 players are coming back from Six Nations and they're happy to play. Well, they might not be happy, but they'll be playing midweek.
Exactly.
You'll jump from competition to competition. You'll play 30 games a season. You'll play on artificial pitches, even though that we know that they're not good. Yet, when players are saying, well, I want to get paid, I don't want to get paid 100 grand a year. I want to get paid fucking 350 grand a year. But we can't talk about that.
Exactly.
Can't say that because the game's in such a bad state. I do feel as if it's going to align, though. I feel like something's
I think
coming.
it is. Yeah, I think especially speaking to like the people head of Prem Rugby and stuff, I think everyone is kind of aligning and it is getting that kind of modern hit now.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it will. Yeah. Just keep going.
It has to.
It has to, yeah.
What will your dad think? Will he be down with it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think he realises the world's changed. Yeah, you have to change with the tide, and that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's like media being influential as well. And the irony in this, like with the media being influential, is no one really reads the media.
No.
Now, like who reads, and I say this respectfully, I did a column for The Times, which I now no longer do. But as in, the tone of voice is coming from the likes of people writing articles. Yeah. The next generation of people who we're trying to influence, everyone in the media, like as in doing a podcast, you as a player, they ain't reading The Times or The Telegraph or The Guardian.
No, exactly. They'd rather listen to their favourite influencer rather than...
Of course.
A journalist,
yeah. And that's what we were talking about, like with the innovation with Prem Rugby, is why don't you get some of these TikTokers, right?
Yeah, I think that's what their route they're trying to go down. The Love Island stars, all of that, trying to get them involved. Because that's what kids want to watch these days, isn't it?
It's crazy. So my mate works in marketing and like talking about like podcasting and kind of sponsoring like people or whatever industry. And he said, what do you think like the biggest industry for like marketing is? I said, it's got, athletes, get Duan van der Merwe or Finn Russell wearing, I don't know, like a cap or, Nike or Adidas or whatever it is, or Castore. And he's like, nah. He's like, give a lipstick, a tube of lipstick to a Love Islander.
Gone. Yeah.
Making millions.
Crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
So whether we like it or not,
that's the way it's going.
That's the industry, and that's what YouTube have done with. That's what boxing have done with the YouTubers.
Yeah, bringing all of them in,
and it's the sell. And this is again the conversations with Prem Rugby. Like the game of rugby can be difficult to consume, right? Even like me and you loved the Calcutta Cup match.
Yeah.
You look on social media, everyone like it was crap, as in like a poor standard rugby. I disagree. I thought it was phenomenal, physical, and all the stuff that we spoke about. The value is in the sell,
100%.
And that is where, as in, I'm sold up a river, right? I got sold. I don't know if you remember the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
Fucking, I bought it, right? I bought it. I was
did
sold. We knew the outcome, right? But I was sold. And you see, like the Jake Paul fights and Logan Paul and KSI. The fights are crap.
Awful.
Do you know what I mean? But the hysteria and the glitz and glamour and the people that they align with, and it isn't the generation up. It's generation down.
Exactly.
And that is where the money comes.
100%.
And that is where, we'll get Finn wearing some lipstick and stuff like that and get the TikTokers there.
Yeah.
And we need to have more of these conversations, right? And you're a young lad, like 24 years old. Like, you get it. Like, it's awesome that you can come on and kind of say,
it's the way it's got to go.
It's the way it's got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We'll finish on the kind of Six Nations and a little bit around like what success looks like for England. Not that it's going to be difficult for you to answer that, but like for the fans listening from an England perspective, and you've got some real good youngsters across the board in that team. You know, like Sam Underhill. I know he's not a youngster, but Sam Underhill, phenomenal. Ben Earl had him in the studio as well, listening to him talk about it. Unbelievable athlete, like Ollie Chesham, George Martin, who I'm a massive fan of. You look at Ben Spencer coming on, Alex Mitchell, you've got Marcus Smith to come back, Finn Smith came on at the weekend. Whatever centres you want to put in, we've gone through the back three. And this is what I mean. I'll go back to, I thought England were fucking good.
Yeah.
You've won the first 2 games, right, in the tournament. You've lost to a very good Scotland team. And it's like, what do the fans want? Like, what are they looking for? Like, how do you say and how do you show them actually, like, we are a good team?
Yeah, I know. And again, that's the negative spin of the media, I think. Yeah, I think there were some individual mistakes at the weekend. There were probably
for
both teams,
but more for England.
More for England, but Scotland capitalised in their moments. England didn't. That was the difference in the result of the match. Both teams, I thought, were full bore, going at it. Levels of physicality were ridiculous. Scotland gnaws the breakdown like fuck. They went so hard at it and probably did get that. Probably forced some errors. And I think, yeah, the game of rugby is always like, oh, look at all these mistakes, look at all this, but we did so much well as well.
Yeah, I mean, is the expectation as England players and fans to win a Six Nations, to be Grand Slam contenders? Like, because the talent and the talent pool in England, like, is that, isn't it? But people need to understand that it is a team in transition, and Ireland aren't. Like, Ireland are fully loaded probably now for the next few years.
And I think if you look at the average age of the squads, even with the likes of like Danny Kerr, George Ford, who are 30 plus, our average age is still pretty young.
Exactly.
Because we've got the likes of the Tommy Freemans. You've got, I think people forget, like Freddie Stewart's only, is he 22 or 23? I think he's still so young. And Ollie Lawrence is still 23, 24. So like there's still so much youth who are nowhere near their prime. And it was the first time a lot of those combinations have played together as well. So, or for a while. So like Danny obviously coming in for the injured Alex Mitchell, Ollie Lawrence first game back after injury. It can be tough coming back in and just trying to find your form again straight away like that. So they'll get more cohesive as this tournament goes on. And I think there could be a big upset in these last couple of games.
It's Ireland, eh?
Yeah, Ireland and France.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. England put in good performance. I know there were a couple of red cards in games in a couple of games before, but yeah, I don't know. I think there's something there for England. I think you're going to be all right. So I'm the hype man, so I would say that. Where are you headed now? You're going somewhere with Quins, aren't you?
Off to Portugal, to the Algarve for a little training camp with Quins.
Nice.
Some warm weather training to
warm the bones, warm the old bones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'll be cool though.
No, it'll be really cool. Yeah, I think it's just in this period you need a bit of change for players. I think.
Yeah.
You can't just do the same things week in week out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think it's brilliant from Quins to. Obviously, I'm going to say that, aren't I?
Oh,
getting a free trip away to Portugal.
It's not free. It's someone's paying.
Yeah, exactly. But over there for a bit of warm weather training.
Yeah, that's class. What else was I going to ask you one thing? Oh yeah, you going on the Delalio podcast? That'll go out before this. Have you been on already?
I went on this morning.
Did you go in the studio?
Did go in the studio.
How was it?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was good,
Lawrence is a legend. I fucking love Delalio. He came
he's
on.
He's a straight shooter, isn't
he? He's as alpha as they come.
He is.
If I could say, right, I want someone to be my dad, and some people might not like this because he's very loose. I'd be like, I'd in a lineup, I'd be like, Lawrence Delalio.
Yeah.
I'll pick him as my dad. Full on alpha.
You won't get away with much, will you?
No, as in he'll put you in line.
Definitely.
Don't do as I do. Do as I say.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good bloke.
Yeah.
He is a good bloke. So hopefully back in the England mix.
Hopefully
soon.
Mate. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
Big run into the end of the season.
Is it a massive incentive? Is it awesome?
Yeah.
Being in the mix.
Yeah. That is the summer tour. It's Japan and New Zealand, I think. So
yeah.
That'll be a cool one to get on.
Yeah.
Never been over there, so yeah, hopefully we'll have a good run at the end of the season.
Yeah, right. Well, the great Cadan Murley, thank you so much. Say hello to your dad for me.
Yeah, I will do. I will do.
Awesome to have you on the show.
Lovely, thank you very much, mate.